What's up, everybody? This is Marty McFly on Rewind That. On today's show on the playback, we're going to find out, did they really say that or no? I've got the footage and I hold everyone accountable. Stay tuned. Welcome to Marty's World, where Marty makes Marty moves and Marty makes Marty moments. Tune in to see what Marty's going to do next. And Jamal, you know we made 1,000 subscribers. Can we get some celebration music? Yeah, oh yeah. Me and Jamal, we just hit 1,000 subscribers and we appreciate everything from me and Jamal to you. And a special thanks goes out to Vincent Lindsay. We appreciate the Cash App, keep it flowing. Now Jamal, now that you got some money in your pocket, can we get some fight music? They all want to challenge Marty to a verbal joust. But they don't understand Marty's invincible. Marty's got the right left punch hook combination. Okay, let's just play a video.
I pretty much just stated my disclaimer. I'm not discouraging black men from traveling. I'm not saying don't go stamp your passports. I'm not even saying, look, if you find somebody over there, hey, don't get with her, don't do all of those things. I'm saying if that's the primary reason why you're going to stamp your passports, chances are you've already lost the battle and you will never get what it is that you're looking for. As far as, you know, the image of black men, whatever it is that people feel as though they have to stamp their passports, go overseas and escape. I don't think promoting black men from America as the face of sex tourism and sex trafficking is the way to go about that. I get it. Not every man that claims to be a passport bro, that's what they're doing. I get that, but there's going to have to be some kind of divide because there are a lot of dudes over there just going over there because they feel as though women are just easier. You know what I'm saying? So at some point, there's going to have to be some separation between the two. Also, I'd like to know what a lot of these dudes are going over there looking for. If so, passport bros, what is your mission statement? What is the movement? What does it stand for? Because at this point, you're just a hashtag. So what's up? Can you explain it to me?
I don't believe you should do anything with the explicit reason for getting or obtaining a woman in any shape or regard, whether it's foreign or domestic. That to me is lame. At all times, you should be on mission, and that mission should be you. And not only talk about it, but be about it. You know, that's why they call me the king of receipts. So just know that anything I say from this point forward, I can and will pull receipts at any given time. That is a disclaimer. What I do, you know, I catch heat just to give, because this is the first time I'm eating ants. So, you know, and I'm pretty sure, you know, let's just be honest. Most guys that you meet are fairly low in terms of intelligence, are fairly low in terms of experience in life, are fairly low when it comes to being socially awkward. That is not the case here. And I understand, you know, the riffraff that you might run into on a weekly basis talking to certain dudes. And a lot of dudes do subscribe to, I'm going over there to meet a wife, and, you know, they never meet a wife. You know, I look at it like, you know, I don't care what anybody does. You know, you could stay here and say you want to meet my wife. You can go to the club, you can go to strip club. What you do with your money is not my concern because I can't spend it. Whether you want to boast and brag, I guess that's cool for the individual. You know, if someone feels their confidence is low where they have to boast and brag about certain things, I necessarily wouldn't do that. But if somebody wants to partake on it on their end, it doesn't affect me in any type of way because I'm on my mission statement. And I can't be concerned with this guy's doing, that guy's doing, because I need first and foremost to be concerned with what I'm doing because I'm the most important person in my life. So, but with that said, I give everybody their free agency as long as it doesn't impede on what I'm doing. You know what I'm saying? If that makes sense. So it's kind of like, I don't agree with guys going over. So we agree upon that. We don't have to harp on that too much. Like I get smoke from passport guys, military guys, all over. I don't have friends necessarily on both sides of the aisle. You know, I'm kind of like my own man navigating my way through this whole thing. So on certain instances, the women will love me. Then they'll hate me. Then the travel guys will love me. But when I start talking about traveling a certain way, and what do I mean by that? Traveling to me is different. Like for instance, Ant, do you travel overseas consistently, or do you mainly keep domestic?
It's more primarily domestic.
Okay. How many times have you been overseas?
I haven't been overseas. I haven't been off of North American soil.
Okay, so all right, that's fine. And look, again, this is not. I'm not here to judge somebody when they say you haven't traveled, because you know what you know. And then it's like, if I was to go down to Wall Street, I necessarily wouldn't be able to tell the guys who work on Wall Street how to do their job. That would be stupid on me, wouldn't it? So if somebody doesn't travel, I understand they might have a perception of those around them who do travel, or those around them who do say, when I go over here, I do this and that. Having no experience yourself, I understand why somebody might have a negative attitude, which is why you hear most women say, oh, they go over there to mess with those dirty foots. That's like the catchphrase. Oh, they're over there. And I guess Austin Holloman is like the poster child right now. So what they'll do, they'll use him as a frame and say, look at this 23-year-old kid. He's going around the world and he's not married none of these women. How dare he? And to some extent, I can see where they're coming from. But however, kid's 23 and he never said he's going to look for a wife. I mean, people forget when they were 23, they weren't looking for a wife either. I would even argue to say, I don't know that we have the traditional values in America, in any community, because I don't want to make this a black community thing, because I'm worldwide with mine. I don't just stick to the black community necessarily, but I don't see as a country this morality that we place on other people. So it's almost like when I hear people say certain things like, oh my God, you went over there and you bought her dinner and then you had a good time after. And then I'm like, okay, on the surface, that sounds great to the uninitiated. But however, when you go 2 to 3 years with these women coming online saying, oh, I need a guy who makes 6 figures so he can pay all my bills. Oh, I need a guy 6 figures so I could sit at home and have a life of leisure. I'm like, well, who's the real dirty foot here? Huh? Because you see, when we quantify things and we step back, because a lot of times as black people, we tend to look at things as what's right in front of us and it's blurry. But when you tend to step back and you begin to connect the dots and you say, something doesn't make sense here. Because now, last 10 years, I've been told, and just, again, this is just anecdotal, this is just general, but it's been proposed to society as a whole that women can do what they want with their bodies. Am I right, Melody? You're a woman, right? I hope so. No, I'm just joking. But what I'm saying is, you're a woman, right? And in America, it's been the last 10 years, it's been my body, my choice, sexual freedom. I can choose who I want to date. And I'm all for that, right? But here's where it gets fishy and funny. Let's have a Marty moment. Where it gets fishy and funny is when you compare what they're saying and contrast to women overseas. Because if you listen to it, they say, oh, those women overseas, it's a power dynamic vacuum. And you say, oh, I mean, we act like Dave Chappelle. What, nigga? And you say, well, what do you mean, nigga? They say, well, you guys are going over there exploiting the American dollar. And I say, wow, that's interesting. So what are you looking for in a man? I'm looking for a man to pay all my bills. What? So now what I'm saying is, it's the hypocrisy on both sides. And I'm just the one to call it out. And I'm not saying Ant is saying that, because on the first few things that he says, I don't necessarily have a problem with, because I have a problem with cornballs too. All right. Because when I call them out, I get all the smoke in the world, and I'm okay with that. Because, I'm able to pull my receipts from around the world. I'm able to pull my receipts domestically, because I've been in this space for a little bit, right? And I've had battles. And actually, if you go to my page, you can see some of the battles. I don't cut the battles. And you know this, Melody. I let them play out. And if I was fake, phony, fraud, and all around the place, a lot of these guys behind the scene would be calling me out. I mean, let's go down to BGS. I don't know if you guys know who BGS is. I don't know if you guys know who 1MT is. I don't know if you know who one guy, Edward Anderson, is. Jesse Veal. I mean, these guys that I'm actually close friends with. And one guy in particular, he's actually my financial advisor, Alonzo Hall. So these guys are credible. So when I go into these rooms and I go into these spaces and I say certain things and I have a tonation of let's just call it for what it is, like a little bit of elitism, This is not just me bullshitting with you for views and clicks. This is me telling you what it is, period. And a lot of people, let's be clear, a lot of people have this Highlander syndrome where it's like, this is what I see, because we're just giving our views here, right? I see one hand, certain guys traveling, saving up for 4 months. I'm gonna just tell you what the play is. They save up for 4 months and they go to places like DR and they become Diddy for a week. They take pictures, they pop bottles. Look at me, I'm getting all bitches. And that's cute, you know. And then they over exaggerate their success with women. That's also cute, but it's also not realistic. Me personally, I'm more into investing overseas. I'm more into building relationships, business and personal. Let's be clear, we're going overseas to meet people. So let's not act like we're all Christians, virgins, and we don't know what happens overseas, okay? So I'm building real relationships the same way you would build real relationships here. And that's what I personally advocate for, you know. And what I'm starting to see, a lot of people don't have the staying power to do so. When I say staying power, I mean the actual finances to do it. Because a lot of times we like to measure, as men, we like to measure ourselves on this game shit, this nebulous, you ain't got enough game. Like there's like a game Jedi school that you go to get your game certificate degree. And if you reach a certain level of game, you're a crown head game nigga with a shiny belt buckle. No, sir. You know, the real game is being successful in life and actually rubbing shoulders with people who are just as successful as you are, if not better, and then making your way. That's the real game. Because the game, there's no other community that game works. Like, you know what I like to say a lot of times, Ant? I never seen somebody with game go into a bank with a bad credit score and close a loan. I never seen a guy with game go into the divorce court and get his children back. There's a lot of dudes with game on child support. So how does that work? And I'm not saying you're saying game is important, but I'm just pointing out inconsistencies that I see that people talk about when we're in this, having these conversations. And when you really break it down, it really comes down to people try to compensate for what they don't, what they lack. So when sometimes people will disagree, and I'm hitting it from both sides. Sometimes people will disagree with guys traveling for this explicit reason. One, they have not traveled. Two, they're too scared to travel because a lot of times they're the big fish in their small pond. So it's like, I'm not going to leave this place where I'm the man to go overseas where I'm nobody, because a lot of times, let's just be honest, them dollars is stretching kind of thin. So when your manhood gets real tested when you're not in the safety of your 4 blocks and you have to really get out there and rub shoulders with other successful men. That's when real manhood gets tested, not on the street corner in the back blocks having a nigga moment over some Nikes and shit. Like that's not it, you know. So a lot of people will rag on guys that travel for the explicit reason that they just can't do it. They might have child support issues. They might not afford it. They might be scared. I don't know the specific reason for everybody, but I know there's an issue there. Now, some guys that do travel overcompensate because they don't have the social cue awareness to actually do it here. So sometimes people use their dollars and they make that work for them. And just to be clear, people do that here. That's why the strip clubs in your nearest neighborhood is so full. That's why OnlyFans, everybody's caking. So let's not act like, when people say, oh, you're going over there tricking. My thing is like, I do agree. There's tricking all around the world. Let's not segment it to just our people going to a specific country. But let's be clear. There's way more tricking in the strip clubs here. There's way more tricking with guys getting finessed out of $300 dates here. And so when you start connecting all these dots, and again, this is all about bringing the picture away from the face and looking further and getting a better understanding of what's really going on. When you start connecting all these dots, a lot of times you see that you actually agree with certain people, then you don't disagree, but it'd be certain factoid and points that haven't been flushed out that creates the problem. I expose the problems, and that's why a lot of people have issues talking to me, and that's fine. That's what I'm here for.